This is Toledo Symphony Lab, a behind-the-scenes look at the world of classical music from WGTE Public Media and your Toledo Symphony. I'm Brad Cresswell, and joining me in the studio today are the Toledo Symphony's principal second violin and artistic administrator, Merwin Sue. We also have the TSO's Director of Marketing, Vanessa Gardner, and we have a very special guest here with us today. I'm going to play a little fanfare for you.
Yes! Oh my gosh.
Please welcome Nick Kendall, who is a crackerjack violinist, also a member of the ensemble Time for Three, wonderful trio. Welcome, Nick.
Man, I'm blinded by the stage lights. I mean, that was an amazing entrance. Thank you, Brad.
Excellent.
It's great to be here.
We're going to play that for you as well when you go on the stage with the Toledo Symphony.
It's your at-bat song.
That's awesome.
Totally.
That's
Time
great.
for Three. Time for Three, if people don't know, is like one of these. I mean, how would you describe Time for Three? You used to call yourselves like a classically trained garage band, but I know you kind of shy away from that, you know, as the group has developed. But you still explore that intersection sort of between popular music and classical music. Nick, how would you describe Time for Three? Like if you're going to give me the tagline for Time for Three, what is it?
Well, Brad, I feel like a little awkward here because we're doing early Palestrina readings at the Renaissance. I think you have the wrong group, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's hard to, I mean, all of the sounds. This is going to be fun.
I'm going to need to change the radio ad.
Hey,
yeah.
nobody
exactly.
touches the soundboard except for me. All right. Here, let me help you out, Nick.
Yes.
No, just kidding.
Yes.
But you know what we do? Let's do it this
Yeah.
way. We usually have people, special guests, like tell their story, right? First, I want to mention you guys are coming Saturday at 8 p.m. at the Toledo Museum of Art Peristyle. It's a one concert only, a special event. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. We're going to talk about all of that. But before we get into it, let's do Nick's story. Okay, let me pull up a little music for you. Well, this
Do you
fits
have
right
Palestrina?
Yeah, Palestrina for sure.
in. I have the next best thing.
Oh, God.
Whoa.
Come on, Brad.
Okay,
You can do better
You
than
can
that.
do. You can definitely do better.
So
than that.
No.
okay, Nick. Let's go back to when you were 3 years old. Actually, I can do better than that because we're gonna pretend like it's Christmas. You're 3 years old,
Oh.
and we'll bring in a little music here. This is
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, light on the
And-
feet. I like this. This is
And
good. This
You're
is
gonna
good.
tell us about what made you pick up the violin. Let's hear Nick's story.
Oh man, this is good energy. I love this. Well, I mean, man, I just like that music, which evokes playfulness and just fun and games. I mean, honestly, I took the violin because of my grandfather. He was a very famous violin teacher in the world. But the thing about him that I remember really strongly in my mind as a memory is him when he taught all these kids, how he made them laugh, and it looked like these group of kids were having so much fun playing the violin, the activity of playing the violin, and I wanted to do that. But at the age of 3, I couldn't quite hold one properly. I'd probably sit on it, break it. So my parents made a violin out of like a cereal box, and my dad was very crafty, so he put like a little wood block at the end of it for the scroll. And
Wow.
my mom is from Japan, so we had a lot of chopsticks that could be broken. And I just air played, and it was the most incredible time of my life until I realized a few years later that if you want to get good, you have to work. And I hated practicing. It's the weirdest thing.
That explains why I've never gotten good at anything. But please continue.
No, you're good.
If you want
Your
to see
choice
Nick
of music is
airplay,
great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make sure you get
exactly.
your tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still have that fake cardboard box violin?
Well, I wish I did because it was an old style Wheatina box. I don't know if people know what Wheatina is. It's kind of
sure.
like, yeah, I mean that's the good stuff, right? And it was like one of those, I don't know, it was bright orange, with blue letters that said Wheatina on it. I'm sure there's a picture somewhere online.
Did Stradivarius make those?
I was born in the 60s, so I remember all of this very clearly.
Nice.
Yeah.
That should be a trivia for your audience. Who can pull up some pictures of their Wheatina box?
We're going to recreate that Wheatina violin and put it in the Time for Three Museum. What do you think?
That's great. And if they bring their Wheatina box to the show, I'll play a special Wheatina theme song.
Very nice. But let me ask you, your grandpa was John Kendall, whom you mentioned, was really famous as a teacher. He also pioneered kind of the Suzuki method here in the States. I mean, did you feel the pressure to become a violinist, to sort of follow in his footsteps? How did that work?
No, I mean, I think I'm truly blessed that I had incredible family and my parents. My sister is a professional cellist. She's the associate principal cellist of the Philadelphia Orchestra, but she and I both learned through music because it was a healthy thing to have as an activity as a young person. And the Suzuki method at the core, the philosophy of it is so beautiful, and it really isn't about training professional musicians. That's not what the Suzuki method was meant to be. It's really a way to nurture beautiful humans and beautiful young people through the activity of music learning. And it was a routine that my sister and I had every single day. And it was a way to just, especially for me, I was one of these kids, I don't know if you can tell, but I was one of these kids that really had a lot of energy. And as I said, was really, it was hard for me to focus on stuff. So this was a great way for me to kind of build those foundational tools for who I am as a person.
Are you teaching in addition to everything else you do? I mean, are you sort of carrying that torch, as it were?
I definitely, as a creative person, it comes really naturally to be able to, like my desire to give back to the next generation for the same reasons, because I feel like music and creativity and working hard through creativity can really shape a young person. And so I do as much as possible. I don't have time for students because I just move around too much.
Not even 3 students?
Well, not even that. No, unfortunately. But I have created these shows with symphony orchestras where I'm kind of like this goofball on stage, and I've been doing that a little bit. Before the pandemic, I had a real big plan, and then of course things got messed up.
Yeah.
But education is definitely at the core of what I feel like I am meant to do on Earth, for sure.
You get applause for that, definitely. Now, I gotta ask you, I read this, that you have sort of a nickname. People call you Diamondz, or is it Diamond
Oh my
Z?
God.
There's a Z at the end of that. I mean,
Where
sound
are
like...
you getting this?
I saw somebody call you Nicky Diamondz, and I thought, man, he sounds like he belongs on The Sopranos, It's like...
Well, okay. So the other name was Nicky Five Tones, and then the third name was Little Nicky. And this all comes from my days in Philadelphia when I was at the Curtis Institute of Music. I lived in, right there in Center City. And actually, it was after I graduated Curtis, one of the guy who, my age, who worked at the bar at D'Angelo's restaurant right there at the corner of, between Spruce and Locust on 20th Street, is Giuseppe. We were friends, but he didn't have any idea about classical music. But he knew I played violin, and he knew about this fancy school called Curtis 2 blocks away. And so he was like, yo, Nick, and we had a shared love of old school hip hop, like Beastie Boys and like Tribe Called Quest, and which I was a huge fan, and we both actually had the same cassette tapes. I'm old enough to say I had cassette tapes, and so he was like, yo, you're so cool, as you're not really like a classical guy that I have in my head. You're like young and hip, so I'm gonna call you Nicky Diamondz. And then the other bartender was like, you play violin, so you have 5 fingers, and so I'm gonna call you Nicky Five Tones, because you have 5 fingers, and they're each finger plays, right? Not knowing that it's only 4 fingers that play on the fingerboard.
You're at that point, you're like, yes, sir.
And then don't ask questions.
Yeah. That's fantastic. here's your okay, so we announced it as time for two, and Nicky Five Fingers Diamonds, right?
There you
we
go.
do a little, and then we bring you on. But now let's switch gears a little bit. I'm going to bring back this lovely music because I want to hear about
Man,
Time for Three. Your involvement with Time for Three. I mean, this started at Curtis, right?
It did, but why are you playing Pachelbel's Canon when you're introducing Time for Three?
Well, it's the only thing I got. Hang on. I can actually play you guys. I don't know if I have permission to play this or not.
Oh, you can play that, yeah.
This is one of your songs.
Oh,
right?
nice. This is one of our latest tunes. Well, yeah, we started at Curtis. I mean, we were at this time when a lot of us, especially in this country, but obviously all around the world, you know, when you're a young person and you're going to a public school, in my case it was a private school, but you have friends listening to a bunch of other styles of music, other genres, and you come from this super focused, kind of like a genre that you don't really understand as a young person because, you know, you just are into, you know, the hip and cool stuff. We were, all three of us have this similar story where we were practicing many, many hours, this quote unquote classical genre, right? But that all of our friends were listening to Nirvana, and like I said, like I grew up outside of DC and it was a really rich hip hop community. And there was also a wonderful bluegrass station on WAMU 88.5 here in DC.
Yeah.
And I was listening to all of that, and so in order to fit in with our friends, we would do, you know, I had rock bands. Charles Yang, who's in the band now, he was in a blues band in high school. Renan actually got introduced and fell in love with music through the language of jazz. So it was a real means to connect. And quite honestly, Brad, I mean, you know, Vanessa and Merwin know this, but in the last 20 years, especially with the internet, but in the last 20 years, there's this huge wave of creative artists who are weaving in their, with the great masterworks, are weaving in the things that they want to play. It isn't, it's going away from this genre being, it's supposed to be something, to more about the creativity, celebrating the rich history, the rich heritage that this music comes from, but also celebrating the moment, and those two paired together, and that's really cool.
That's wonderful, yeah. I want to hear just the end of this song because it's such a beautiful song that I believe Charles is the lead singer on this, but you're also singing, right?
Backup vocals. You don't want me any more forward in the mix than that.
That's nice. You've got a number of these songs on your website, and this one is on a video, I believe.
Correct.
Of you doing an acoustic version. It's called Over, right?
Yes.
What precipitated this song? Somebody have a breakup or something?
You know, we've all been there and done that. In the band Hardcore, many tears and heartaches. But that was actually, we co-wrote that with a producer for that project, Liz Rose, who's one of she's like our big sister in Nashville. She was famous for being part of Taylor Swift's first two albums, actually co-writing Taylor Swift's first two albums.
Wow.
And we spent a lot of time before the pandemic in Nashville learning about that, learning about songwriting, and we oftentimes would just kind of get in, sit in her living room, and we'd share stories, and we'd all have our instruments. We had pianos. We had a piano there. We had guitars. We had like little percussion elements, whatever. And it was such an amazing, fluid, creative process. I mean, of course, Time for Three has a lot of experience in both playing, music that was written for us, but also we are writing our own music. And in this case, it was so incredible to be with Liz, who just kind of coaxes out the words from stories that we're imagining, or a moment that may be fleeting, that we sort of grab that moment, and then boom, a song happens in the next hour. And it was an incredible process to be part of.
Wow.
And that's what
great.
that song came out of. Yeah.
Very nice. I want to switch gears here very quickly because we do have a quiz, and I'm going to throw out the first couple of questions here. And the way that we usually do this is people write down their choice, and at the end we go back. But I think for the purposes of this, because there's 3 different clues, I'm going to go ahead and if you guys got an answer, just shout it out, okay?
What's the topic of this quiz?
Oh, the topic of the quiz is famous trios in history, all right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's trio trivia. Here we go. Clue number 1. This rambunctious trio was marked for death by one of history's most notorious figures.
Three Stooges?
The Three
The
Blind
Three
Mice.
Stooges, very good.
Yes.
Vanessa. Excellent. Yeah, Adolf Hitler thought that they were, they made fun of him, so he marked them for death.
Wow.
Now, can I tell you the other clues? There's a museum, because I worked
Brad
on
works
this.
really
I stole
hard.
his
I
thunder.
spent hours and hours. Well, okay, maybe 10, 15 minutes, but I did spend time on this thing. So the other clues were there's a museum in Pennsylvania named after them. There's the Stoogeum, right? Have you ever heard of the
What?
Stoogeum?
No, that's beautiful.
It's great. They have a game room. They have a Hall of Shemp, first of all. And
Where's
they-
your hit? Where's your...
and they have a game room that includes a game called Whack-A-Mo, which I think is fantastic.
That's wonderful.
Right. All right. So let's move on to the next question. Okay. This trio lived during the early 17th century. Any clues? I mean, any answers? No.
How about more
Yeah,
clues?
more
more
clues,
clues?
please.
They were not invented until 1844.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Merwin, come on.
Wow, this is a lot of pressure.
Final clue. They were famous swashbucklers.
Oh, the Three Musketeers.
The Three Musketeers.
Musketeers.
That
Oh,
goes.
for sure. See, Merwin, I knew you'd get it.
It was a chocolate bar.
I
I was really
I was
hard.
waiting for the chocolate bar. specifically.
Yeah.
The chocolate bar. Okay.
Man,
I don't think that's on my list. Okay, here we go. Let me give you one more. All 3 members of this trio were born on the Isle of Man. Okay.
Oh, my God.
They got their names, or their name of the trio came from their initials of each member of the group. They all had the same initials. Early on
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. Go. Keep going.
All right.
I need more.
Early on, their producer would leave their name off of their record jacket in hopes that radio stations would think they were the Beatles. But they weren't the Beatles. They were They're staying alive.
Oh, God. Charles would nail this.
They have Saturday Night Fever.
Bee Gees? No.
Yeah, actually, Vanessa, that is the Bee Gees. I'll give it to you.
The Bee Gees, really?
It's the Bee Gees. Yeah, totally
Man.
the Bee Gees.
Wow. I'm
Vanessa,
just failing.
this
Thanks
is
for
gonna be
having
an
me on,
amazing-
though, guys.
This is my favorite podcast
okay.
episode ever.
I know your phone is cutting out, Nick, right? That's
I'm sorry, guys. I actually had to use the bathroom for a second.
oh, look at the time. Okay.
That's,
You know what we'll
that's
do?
actually our music director, Alain Trudel, who gave us our very own sad trombone.
Yes.
Ah.
Okay, we'll come back to the quiz a little bit later, but we got through 3 questions.
I'd just like
Vanessa's
to
in the
know.
lead
Yes, thank you. I'm in
so
the
far.
Yeah,
Nick,
you are.
You still have a chance, Nick. We'll have more of the quiz a little bit later. But
Okay.
let's give Vanessa and Merwin a chance to chime
Please.
in here. I mean, have you guys worked with Time for 3 before? You have, obviously,
I have.
Vanessa. You did. Yeah.
Yes.
What was that experience?
Oh my gosh, we had so much fun.
Yeah.
Time for 3 came to East Texas in 2018, and I think you guys were there in 2015.
Yeah, it was twice.
and it was such a great show. We needed to have them back, and I think 2018 was the first time we got to work with them when Charles was part of the group.
Yep.
So Charles, he brings vocals. Maybe you guys did vocals before, but I think Charles has taken that to the next level. And I fell in love with their song Joy, which I'm very excited will be on the program. In fact, if it wasn't going to be on the program, then we were going to have a serious chat about that. But so
thank
yeah,
God.
they were just so much fun, and everybody has a great time. And Not only that, but they're super virtuosic players. So you're going to see some pretty intense skills.
Absolutely.
On stage.
Well, Nick, you dodged a bullet by putting that piece on the program that Vanessa was talking
Yeah,
about.
no kidding.
It's actually an episode of our podcast, a serious chats with Vanessa. It's a scary
That's a great
episode.
idea.
Yeah, exactly. I got to bring back.
That's
the-
amazing.
And
is your-
Vertigo too. That's an original.
Oh.
Well,
It sure is.
we call you Nicky Diamondz or Nicky Five Fingers, but
I love this.
Vanessa has a nickname also. You want to tell us your nickname, Vanessa?
Yeah, my nickname is Doug.
Your nickname is Doug? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna have to
Doug-
dip into the archives to remember why.
when you greet Vanessa, Nick, be sure to call her Doug.
I'm going to call her
No,
Doug.
please don't.
Totally. I do want to mention Time for Three, including Nick Kendall, also known as Nicky Diamondz or Five Fingers. It sounds like you're
Nicky
stealing.
Five Tones.
Yeah, Nicky
Five
Five Tones. I don't know where I got Five Fingers. That's like you're stealing stuff. It sounds a little more mob oriented, I guess.
Yeah.
Nicky Five Tones.
Nicky Five Tones.
Yeah, Saturday at 8 p.m. at the Toledo Museum of Art, Paris style, with the Toledo Symphony. And Nick, I want to talk to you a little bit about expounding on this whole idea of exploring different genres of music. You guys are really popular in the way of bringing folks into sort of the classical canon, if that's even a goal, of yours. You're kind of a gateway drug to other art as well. And I wonder if you can talk about this idea of attracting new audiences, because, the Toledo Symphony is going to be there. You're in a concert hall, but you guys are having fun. I mean, is that
And?
part of...
Maybe
Yes,
not but and?
but we're not supposed to have fun in classical music. No. No, not at all. But,
Absolutely wrong. Classical music is amazing. No, I mean, I know what you're saying, Brad. Yeah. Can I be on this podcast again next week? I mean, this is great.
Absolutely.
This is awesome. So, yeah, I don't think, I mean, first of all, to be clear, we don't call ourselves a classical music group. We're not. I don't know. I think after all these years of just always doing this kind of living in this moment, living on the edge of the art form, I guess, and always exploring, I think it all comes down to, we just love the experience of this setting that you only find in a setting that silence is our creative canvas. And it's not about the silence as much as when you get a whole room, a one person or 2,000 people all so still, and it's because of the engagement that is so exciting, that palpable energy, that X factor that human beings can feel and experience together, and the energy within that. And I think we just love what happens. I mean, in those moments where we're three dudes that are very generous in our spirit with each other and with anybody who we are collaborating with on stage, but then that reciprocal energy put out into the hall, and then that energy coming right back with us. It's really about the experience of sharing through the language of music that attracts us and drives us. And I gotta say, I mean, it may be, I think everybody's talking about it, but during this period, we lost so much, right? We lost our friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes we lost friends and people, and the community was really, a lot of communities were really hurt, and we also lost this ability to share. But what we gained was this newfound appreciation for these moments to connect. And I think for us as artists who thrive in the live experience, when we didn't have the live experience, of course, we had a lot of opportunities to stream. And early in the pandemic, we were doing recordings and videos in quarantine, the three of us in separate places. But man, when we started being able to come back, even for a small house, when we first started playing live again, we would, instead of playing one night, we'd stay for a second night because they could only bring in 25% of the house. Even then, it felt like gushing emotions. And so I think we as a people, we as a human race, are really aware of this period and are appreciating these moments to engage with each other. And that is at the heart of what we do, because, you know, this incredible music by these master composers who wrote stuff, it isn't about how difficult it is. It's about being engaged with both the large arc of a work, which is a big experience, but then the details that are a life journey with these pieces, and the sizzle of human energy that goes in when you understand what's going on. That energy is just, there's nothing like it in life. And we love representing that energy.
Yeah.
I think in those moments in life.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. It's Toledo Symphony Lab. We're talking with Nick Kendall, who is violinist for the trio Time for Three. One of the violinists. They are coming to the Peristyle Saturday at 8 p.m. with the Toledo Symphony. And Nick, you guys are back on tour now, right?
Man, we are so grateful. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, in our life, we have this interesting life where we do have some routed things, like, you know, kind of going from one city to another. But our life actually, mostly, especially pre-pandemic, is kind of zigzagging around the country and then sometimes around the world. So sometimes it isn't routed, but it feels nice to start to have shows back. We are so grateful. We are so grateful to the Toledo Symphony for keeping our date and for bringing us, and for all the other organizations and promoters and bookers. We are just, I mean, obviously this is our daily bread. This is a way we can support our families. Right. But it's also just allowing for the music to be alive, and that, I think, for everybody, that's a really great thing. So thank you.
Well, and you talk about the unique energy of the group, and I imagine a lot of that is fueled by just having people there, an audience that you can feed off of. Yeah. That
exactly that, Brad.
Look forward to seeing that. So now I've got Merwin and Vanessa. Vanessa was busy writing down questions to ask you, and Merwin is over here drawing some kind of pictures. I don't know what he's drawing.
Yes, Merwin.
I actually did have a question that I was.
Okay.
You can go first, Merwin.
Let's hear it.
Because, so the last time you were in Toledo, it was with the Toledo Symphony Orchestra, and we are still the Toledo Symphony Orchestra, but we are actually now part of the Toledo Alliance for the Performing Arts. And so we've merged with the Toledo Ballet, and really we think it's really important that every single artist that we present has a dance element in their show.
Yeah.
So surprise!
You should see Merwin dancing on the stage with his violin.
But that's the next frontier for you, right? You guys are, I'm sure, absolutely going to be incorporating dance in your show.
How did you know this? Did our management let you know about this? Wow.
Is there a question there somewhere, Merwin?
Oh no, it was more of a warning. But I think
yes.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, kind of hearkening back to that, the difference maybe in the last time that you were here, I was just very curious, because I mean I'll be singing in lessons and that kind of thing, but I have a great fear of having people paying to watch me sing. What was that? Was there kind of a first moment where you guys decided, you know, vocals are going to be part of our show that you remember? Or was this something that kind of organically evolved? It's like, wow, we're doing this in our rehearsal process anyway. Let's make this become part of our show.
So, Brad, you asked if we had sung before Charles came. I think it was you, Brad. But we did not sing unless we were drunk in bars, but we wouldn't sing publicly or expect to be paid. We did, the band before, we did have a few things that we would sing, and I think we actually made a Christmas album where we maybe sang one or two things, but it wasn't really, it wasn't part of our DNA. But when Charles joined the group, we knew that we needed an incredible violinist, an artist and violinist, just because our repertoire, you know, was based on that writing. But But Charles, when he joined, besides being just this amazing human and violinist, he did come with this amazing voice. And we knew that, but we also knew that it was a very, very powerful tool that could easily be misused. And so we decided to, we could have just, had him up there on a mic and then we just kind of do string arrangements of vocal songs. But that didn't feel like the direction. And so we sort of organically got into it. And it was actually a friend of ours from Curtis who does a lot of vocal writing, Steve Hackman. And he's the one that actually wrote Vertigo for us. And he knew Renan and myself from Curtis days, and he knew we took solfege and all this stuff. And he kind of proposed it. And he also knew that both Renan and I sang in high school choir, and so he proposed it. Like, what if I wrote you an original song that really kind of blended the three of you together? And we're like, really? And then we got the music and we tried it. We worked hard, and actually, it really was an inspiring spark. So Brad, or actually Merwin, sorry, it was you who asked the question. We have taken our sweet time on it, and we've been on a journey. Honestly, we explored the idea of kind of going into the more popular route with songwriting, but then it just felt like our unique sound and blend of energy through the way we spin a sound through our instruments was sort of being lost, and we were missing that. And then, so now we're kind of swinging back into, well, maybe we are this instrumental band that has this flair of original songwriting. And so we've been on this journey, and it's been by design to take our time to really explore what our real DNA is with this powerful tool.
Well, I think you can do all of the above. I want to dig into the past and find that Christmas album that you mentioned you were singing on pre-Charles.
Yes.
What's it called? Drunk in a Bar, something like that?
Drunk in the Bar.
That's not Charles, by the way. Or Nick. Or Nicky Diamondz, right?
No. I think it was it's called Yuletide or something. I don't know. You can find it on
Yuletide, whether you want to or not.
Ridiculous. Yeah, and with a ridiculous photo. We hate it.
You are totally whetting my appetite here.
No.
Let me bring this back in, and let's see if we can do a couple more quiz questions. All right.
Boy.
So remember, we're talking about famous trios, trio trivia. All right.
Okay.
Although they were individually famous, this trio first came together in 1990 to celebrate the return of one of them to the public eye after a health crisis. Okay, 4 years later, they appeared together for a one-time television event that drew an audience of over 1 billion people worldwide.
Oh, God.
It's not time for three.
Three tenors?
The Three Tenors, very
Yes,
good.
Yes.
So Merwin and Vanessa are tied right now, 2 each. Okay.
Yeah.
This group was originally known as the Three Nightingales. They decided to pursue comedy after a mule broke loose during one of their shows. Again, this is not time for three. All right?
No, it does sound like Time for Three.
Yeah, their actual names, it's not the Three Amigos. Their actual names were Leonard, Arthur, and Julius, although they went by the nicknames that they got while playing cards. This is old school stuff, right?
Man, I don't know if I know this.
Think of A Night at the Opera. That kind of thing.
Come on, guys.
You Bet Your Life.
No.
This is...
Cigar. Mustache.
No. Can't be the Marx.
Totally the Marx Brothers.
Wow.
Totally the
Really?
Marx Brothers.
Yeah,
Wow.
the Marx Brothers. Well, I hate to
Oh,
say this,
man.
Nick, but I don't think you can catch
Yeah.
up at this point.
I think I'm a dead loser here.
I got 2 more questions. I'm going to go ahead and throw them out there for this segment, okay? There were a total of 6 in this group, but only 3 at a time. Their original name was the Alley Cats, right? They never showing up in person. Their eponymous boss directed the trio's crime-fighting operations
Charlie's Angels.
over a speakerphone. Yes. And Merwin is pulling into the lead. All right,
Yes.
Merwin. You can put a fine point on it with this final question here. Let me get the... Here's music for Merwin's win. Okay. This fictional trio has been voiced by 24 different actors since the 1930s.
Oh my gosh.
Traditionally, they wear a chef's hat, a Nordic elf hat, and a drum major's hat, respectively.
Snap, crackle, and pop.
Oh my god.
I knew it.
Serious?
I knew it. Merwin. Merwin is the winner.
Man, I
One,
gotta go back
two,
to school,
3,
guys.
4, 5. Merwin wins with 5 correct answers. Vanessa's in second place with 2 correct answers. And Nick is in third place with...
Oh, come on. I knew all of them. I knew all of them. I'm just letting you guys... I'm just being nice, guys.
Yes, and we appreciate your being nice. That's
Oh, God.
fantastic. So Merwin is the winner of the quiz. I'll let you know on a
Congratulations,
secret.
Merwin.
Nick, this is not the first time Merwin has won the quiz. He seems to win almost every single quiz that he participates in.
But we
Sometimes
keep
the ones
having
he's
them
not. Yeah, we
To
keep having them.
continue to humiliate the rest of us.
Yeah, I think he's mastered the art of like seeing my papers upside down. and
Yeah, but is
figuring
this...
out-
Here's the real question. Have you had a guest on the show who has gotten that many not answered as me?
I don't think so.
Aw.
Anyway,
Yes. Well, I'm
totally.
a winner then. I'm a winner.
Totally. Now it's your turn, Vanessa. I know that you were writing down a couple of questions you wanted to ask Nick.
Well, I know you guys just did this soundtrack for the movie Land, and I wondered
Oh,
if you
cool,
could
yeah.
talk a little bit about that experience, and then I'm also curious if there's any other projects like that for you guys coming up.
Well, that was a gift from just a gift from the above. I mean, first of all, Robin Wright, it was totally freaky to get on a first call with her because,
That's amazing.
I'd just known her as what's her name from House of Cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the Princess Bride, or
Well, that was sweet. I mean, I was excited about that. But
yeah.
but she is one of the most humble, well-spoken, articulate, kind humans, and it was incredible to work with her. This was her directorial debut. Of course, we were supposed to do all of this pre-pandemic. Well, we started talking before the pandemic hit, and we were going to do the album live, and she had come to a few of our live shows, which was incredible. And she really wanted to go on this musical journey with us. I think we had so much respect for her because she didn't meddle in like what we do. All she was doing was reacting emotionally. So she didn't say, "Oh my gosh, go to a minor second," or, let's do C major instead of F minor. She didn't do that. She spoke just in emotions and in her vision of those moments. And of course, like, if you see Land, there's actually very little dialogue, especially in the first half of the movie. And so the placement, and if you see it, it's set in the Rocky Mountains, and it's very picturesque, and it's about a woman's struggle. It's a woman's about a human coping with grief, and we find ourselves with a woman who comes out of the city to go to nature to find solace. So music was a huge, huge character in itself. And so she was really we were looking forward to being in the studio with her, like playing chords and saying, "Oh, can it be less this or more? Oh yeah, that moment." So real improvisation with a person who, I mean, we just love her artistry as an actress. Of course, the pandemic hit, so everybody, like the whole operation, had to pivot, and we had to do a lot of this remotely. We ended up co-writing the soundtrack with another one of our really good friends, Ben Solee. If you don't know who Ben Solee is, check him out. Singer-songwriter, cellist out of Louisville, Kentucky. And together with him remotely, we crafted together this soundtrack. And I think it's one of these moments where everybody had to be super stretched and learn new ways of communicating with each other. For us, the process of getting cues, verified and we were going to do it in the moment with her in the studio, but she had to approve. So we had to first get all the tracks from each one of us. Then we had to put it together. Then we had to mix it. Then we send it to her. And then she would have to say, I love this moment. Don't know about that moment. So then we come back. I mean, it was like 6 or 7 more processes to one move than in normal. So it was a huge challenge. And it was like that for everything, for the editing of the film, for just everything. But what was amazing was that it almost brought everybody closer together because we were all in the same boat and we all had to work to make this happen. Deadlines, the studio, this was Big Beach and Focus Features, which are big deal distributors and production companies. They stretched their timelines. Sundance, where it was premiered, stretched the deadline for all films to be submitted just because they knew how difficult it was during this time to create art. So it was really beautiful how teams flexed and came really close together to make stuff happen. Calling in the middle of the night, scheduling meetings just at odd hours just to make it happen. So it was cool.
Wow.
So that was very special.
I was so proud of you guys when I saw that.
Now that you're
Thank you.
Now that you're a Hollywood bigwig, you're coming here.
Not at all.
You're coming to Toledo. What do you want to say to folks that are listening before they actually see you guys take the stage?
Well, first of all, it goes back to we feel so privileged and so honored to get back to what we love. And again, we feel like what we have missed out on, because of that, we have gained this new appreciation for the sharing of this experience together. And we are going to pull from things you may have heard of and our spin on it. But we are coming knowing that we are there with a beautiful symphony orchestra. So we are empowering the orchestra to be the beautiful sounds that an orchestra, like big, huge sounds, but also the palettes of color that only happen with an orchestra. We are really leveraging that to weave into our experience of music making. So all of those things are going to be there, and centered in all of that is just the beauty of community and sharing. So we hope to make you laugh. We're going to have a great time, but we're also going to be super heartfelt, and because we're deeply, deeply passionate about what we do.
Hopefully that soundboard effect didn't negatively impact what you had to say, because that was wonderful. Nick Kendall is one of the members of the group Time for Three, coming to the Paris Style at the Toledo Museum of Arts. That is Saturday, October 23rd at 8 p.m. with the Toledo Symphony. More information at toledosymphony.com or 419-246-8000. This program is a production of WGTE Public Media in collaboration with our sponsor, the Toledo Symphony, with generous support from the Rita Barber Kern Foundation. You can download episodes of this program as a podcast by going to our website at wgte.org/lab. You can also subscribe to us through your podcast app of choice, including Apple and Google Podcasts. Remember to check out all the upcoming events at the Symphony by visiting their website at toledosymphony.com and their various social media outlets on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can find the TSO streaming platform online at stream.artstoledo.com. A great big special thanks to our guest, Nick Kendall. Thank you, Nick.
Absolutely. And if anybody out there wants me to be on their, what do you call this, quiz team, I suck. So don't. But I'm a lot of fun, though, and I'll serve drinks.
Absolutely. Drunk in a bar. Thanks to Nick Kendall. Thanks to Nick Kendall.
You guys are great.
From Time for Three. Also to Merwin Sue and Vanessa Gardner. I'm Brad Cresswell. This has been Toledo Symphony Lab from FM 91.